Greetings, fellow adventurers, and welcome to the Couple of Nerds podcast. I'm DnDWife, the creator of DnDWifeStories.com, and your co-host. Joining me is the man behind the screen, my brilliant dungeon master, and also my husband, Eguile. Say hi, Eguile.
Hey everyone, excited to be here sharing our nerdy adventures with all of you.
Absolutely. So what's Couple of Nerds all about? Well, we're diving into the realms of Extraeus, sharing our experiences, playing D&D in our apartment, and exploring the intricate tapestry of relationships both in and out of the game.
And we got some exciting segments for you all, from lore deep dives to crafting tips, artwork showcases, and relationship advice on and off the table. We've got a little bit of everything for every kind of adventurer.
So whether you're a seasoned adventurer or a tabletop newbie, we invite you to join us today. Tune in, relax, and enjoy the magic of Couple of Nerds. May your rolls be natural 20s and your adventures be legendary. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Couple of Nerds. I'm your host, DnDWife, and with me is my co-host and husband, DM Eguile.
How's it going, everyone?
Welcome, everybody. Today's episode is going to be a Traveler Chronicles segment. This is where we delve into the sort of really meat of the story of what we're going through on the campaign. It's going to be super fun. This time, we're going to be focusing on the final member of the Travelers, Drexla.
Oh, yeah. So we finally are revealing the sixth member of our D&D table, who is our inventor. And it's also the other of our legacy players.
Yeah, so the player has been around for a really long time, since damn near the beginning for us. So,
yeah. I mean, I think he's second to you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like obvious.
Yeah, so.
But it really kind of goes to show, because if you remember, all the legacy players have kind of unique features unique to them.
Yep.
That's kind of a test run to allow them to try new things. So much like an artificer, excuse me, she plays an inventor.
Which is completely new to us.
Yeah, it's from a Patreon friend of mine that I really like. I've subscribed to him for a while, and it's kind of a packet of all these kind of unique classes that you guys are using.
Cool.
So it kind of gives them a chance to be completely homebrew, and that kind of puts both unique challenges and advantages for them throughout the story.
Yeah, it's super fun. I gotta say, being a legacy player myself, I gotta imagine it's got to be great to have some, like a little bit of a secret arsenal to call upon.
Oh yeah, and then this is also a unique player in the fact that not only does she play a very unique race, right? She's a fairy, so she's a small flight type creature. But she is also played by a male player. So it's kind of this cool dynamic that plays off of all the senses, because your idea is like, okay, not only is it a gender swap, but it's also like, oh, you always have to remember she's not very tall either.
Yeah,
so it's
very small, tiny.
So whenever we're at play at table, it's like such a crazy kind of mind change when you kind of envision like the player as their character.
Yeah, especially myself being a very mentally visual person, I can kind of see it in my head. So having to translate that sometimes, especially at the beginning of the campaign, was a little difficult. But now it's just so easy. I think Drexla's played really well. It's a sort of erratic, fun inventor kind of energy, mad scientist vibe that I get, and I love it.
Yeah, and so when we came to session 0 and we started building all the characters, you guys had a few secret options that was revealed to you at session 0. And one of the options was whether your character was magical or non-magical.
Yep.
And when you made that decision, it would play kind of a big factor in places in the story. We haven't quite reached those points.
Yeah.
But this was a choice that this player decided to say non-magical. And by picking a magical race,
that's so brave.
It changed that whole dynamic. So Drexla, this fairy, is born without wings.
Oh, because the wings are magic.
Right. And so the character kind of gets built into this, this inventor. She has these adopted Dimon parents that found her and kind of teach her the way of inventing, which Dimons are known to be.
Yeah.
And through that, she kind of gains a different type of magic, but more in like her craftsmanship.
More of a skill.
Yeah. And so the kind of change in that, you always kind of see like Tinkerbell when you think of fairies, and you think of fairy dust and stuff. This is a very different character. This is not your standard fairy, which makes for a really a cool like introspective on looking at like what we try to do is subverting traditional norms. So it's like, oh, it's not this traditional fairy, it's this very unique take on a fairy player.
Yeah, no sparkles and ruffles. It's more like oil stains and like
and so to play with that backstory, that's why I offered this player the inventor class. And the inventor class has a lot of these little subclasses that are different kind of arts and stuff that the smith uses, right? And so this character got to pick between two, and so she picked with the gadget smith as well as a war smith, which allows her to eventually kind of have this like Jarvis armor suit that takes over, that she can have to adapt for her kind of short, like her kind of missing kind of features, her short stature, her lack of strength. And so that allowed kind of this unique dichotomy. Now, it took a while for Drexla to gain access to her kind of armor suit, being that the story started in like a very tribal, low technology where she was struggling to find any kind of parts to build anything.
Yeah, it's tough to find.
So she struggled for the early part, but now as the story continues on, which we'll get into further chronicles, we'll learn more about how she kind of eventually gets to create this, and it becomes this kind of next part of her story, and kind of that chance where she has that defensive wall.
She's got to get creative.
Yeah, and then it is kind of a interesting challenge in the fact that it is a player who is a male playing a female character. But it's not his first time. Since our first campaign, he played as a cleric named Chris. And again, that was another chance for him to kind of play this very different role, which put, I think, a more unique twist on our campaign.
I think so.
To not just everyone be like your standard true, like, hey, it's me in a suit, like I'm here. Like,
right.
It's a very good kind of change to the role play perspective.
It's a little bit of a fresh breath of air, just to have something different.
I would say, as weirdly as a DM, it's easier when you get to be like a male NPC flirting to your other male player as a female, because it's like we're both role playing here. But when I have to be like a female and then I have to, it's like this is getting weird, so it kind of helps out. But really, when it comes to Drexla, which is some, kind of her background story that we will get into much when we do a deep dive on Drexla's story, but she is actually on the run. Given some kind of misunderstandings and some kind of trickery, very Drexla.
For you players that might be listening, this is not for you.
I mean, hey, they've been warned. But in a sense that she, kind of got her family in trouble, and it cost her kind of dearly. And now she is desperate, on the run, no friends, no family, and is both trying to discover who she is, as well as trying to kind of keep herself protective from all these outside forces, especially when you're such a small creature.
It's tough out there being so tiny. But that also gives her a little bit of versatility, right? Because she's so small that she's really hard to spot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of advantages that come with being a fairy, and the player who operates her is really always taking that into account, because there are also disadvantages of being small. I believe I've started to put in a kind of a general fear of nets to the player, in that they understand that, like, when you're very tiny and it's a 10-foot net, that is a huge fucking net.
It's big.
So it's going to get you. So it's one of those things where it's like, just like everyone goes, well, they can be all that. Well, but they also have all the other disadvantages that come with being a small creature and a non-magical creature.
Yeah, there's ups and downs to all of the choices that we make.
But looking at the player who operates her, he also is kind of one of our unique individuals, as he was the first individual we met through recruitment on D&D Beyond. In that he was our first like truly random recruitment,
and only since.
And as we've made references in previous Heard It From Us, he was one where we were just like, come on over to our house. We don't know you. Come on, play D&D without any kind of forethought or background check, which we don't recommend.
No,
it worked out for us, but you never know what you're gonna find on the internet.
Be thorough.
But through him, we've gained Eric. We've had other players join, and it's it's been really good to have kind of that very kind of broad experience, as when he first started playing with me, it was kind of always a thought for him to be able to play a long running story that could go all the way to level 20, that you could actually see your character go the full distance. And so when we first played the first campaign, that was the main focus, was like, hey, let's let this happen. Let's
get it to the end.
Get characters to this, so this person who has been playing D&D for a long time gets to do something they wanted to do, and we have an opportunity to provide that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Right. So, and that's why he's now become, a major part of our table, and now in our third campaign, we're able to have kind of that unique perspective that he brings, because of having so many kind of characters and having so many different kind of experiences in D&D. That gives us a little bit of feedback, as well as ways that we can, or in this case me, play off of some of those preconceived notions, where I can be like, oh, I know what he thinks this is, because he's seen it a million times, but this one time it's going to be different. And so he's just same with Eric, it's these guys where, their veterancy can sometimes lead to their downfall.
That's the fun of homebrew, right?
But surprises. Really, we talk about Drexla, we talk about Dan, but I feel like it's better to get more of an upfront perspective.
I think so. Why don't we head over to our reporter on the ground, Luna, coming at you live. Hello? Yes? Can you hear me? Yes. Hi, this is Luna reporting live from Kalmaha here at the docks. We are just settling down for the evening, having a lovely meal here in the evening. But I'm joined by quite a lovely array of people, one of which is someone I have not yet encountered before. The lovely Miss Drexla, is it?
Hello, how are you?
Oh, hello. It's so interesting to hear such a interesting voice. My apologies for being a little abrupt. It's just you are Faye, right?
No, not a Faye. I'm a Dimmin.
Oh, I've seen some Dimmin before, and they're not quite as small as you, but you seem more like a fairy to me. Is that quite right?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Well,
Mama and Papa always say I'm a Dimmin.
Okay, well, I'll take you at your word for now. It's just, I hope you don't mind my prying. It's just a little strange to see possible fairies or fae in the area. It's a little alarming, but I just had to ask. Thank you so much.
I'm kind of scared of them too, but I've never seen one either. Just Mama and Papa told me to avoid them.
Understood. And I see you don't really have typical fairy wings, so to speak. They're sort of mechanical there, so that really backs you up right there.
Yeah, being so little, Papa made these for me so I could hide from stuff, snakes and kitties and stuff like that.
Oh, that's quite good. Your father, is your father also as small as you?
No, he's bigger than me, but I'm still young. I'm little.
Oh, all right. So that's probably where you got the Dimmin side from, huh?
I think so.
Well, that's good. And, how did you end up here, per se?
I've been here for a while, and I just wanted to come see all the animals and stuff and stay away from the people. They don't really like me too much either.
I can totally agree with that. I'm completely on board with that. It's why I came here too. I'm on vacation. It's quite lovely, but I'm doing a little reporting on the side just for fun. But it's lovely to hear that somebody else shares the same sentiment. But is there anything else that you're doing here?
I've been waiting for a ship to come in. I saw the ship with the blue lizard guy. He came in and I got some really cool schematics here, and I told him about them.
I was on that ship. Yes, he's right over there by the fire.
Yeah, he said I could join his crew, so I took an oath, and here I am.
Oh, you're part of a crew now. Oh, that's quite interesting. And do you have a special assignment on this crew?
Well, I'm supposed to upgrade the ship and make it better.
Oh, wow. And such a large ship at that. How do you manage being such a small sort of creature, It must be tough having to do all sorts of repairs and upgrades.
It is, but I'm pretty strong though. I can move stuff, and I get other people, and they move the stuff for me, and I just tell them what to do, and we get it done.
Oh, well, that's quite inventive. That's so interesting. I would love to see you at work, see what kinds of wonders you can come up with. That's wonderful. Is there perhaps anything that you could show us, some sort of invention that you can give us a demonstration of real quick?
Well, I have my wings, and I could fly around, and
Well, that's true. That's true. That is quite.
My gloves, and I have a grappling hook that I can pull stuff to me and pull myself the stuff. And
Oh, well, that's quite fantastic. I have seen sometimes spells do this sort of, I don't know, effect, but I've never quite seen a sort of mechanism be able to achieve that. That's quite wonderful and inventive.
yeah, I don't really have any magic, so I just watch things that other people do, and then I try and figure out how I could do it better.
Oh, well, that's quite resilient. That's extremely wonderful. I think that's a great way to look at the world. And, I just wanted to sort of get your perspective on why you're here. You're joining us, obviously, on our way to the great city so that we can join the festival. Are you hoping to ply your wares there, since this isn't really sort of a technologically, loving sort of society?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed coming here. These people are pretty backwards. They don't have much here. I find stuff that people just leave around that they really don't care about, and I repurpose it, and I made these cool little clockworks, and I can sell those. And
Well, on the bright side, at least there's no competition, right? You're the only game in town.
that is true. There's nobody else here like me.
Yes, and if you can really make a name for yourself, I imagine you can gain a wonderful sort of business with your wares.
I hope so. I'm not trying to attract too much attention though, because I think the human people are looking for me, but that's why I found you guys, and you can protect me, and I can protect you, and
Oh, wow, people are looking for you there. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we not supposed to speak about that?
yeah, probably just watch out for any humans walking around. There's many humans, and you might see them.
All right. Well, I'll definitely keep an eye out. But is there anything you can tell us about this? I mean, you're so small. How have you not been caught before? What kind of challenges have you faced?
Well, I'm pretty sneaky, and I can fly too, so they don't really know where to look for me. I just hide a lot.
Well, I've got to say that I believe is where your size comes in extremely handy. You can always pop in and out of places and not really be noticed. Well, that's quite good. Do you have any sorts of plans on how to eventually, get away from these people permanently?
I just hope they don't find me. That's why I'm on the ship, because they can't find me on the ship, and I can, hide in, hopefully in the Tobias's wagon.
Oh, well, that's true. There's plenty of little nooks and crannies in there. I'm sure you can find someplace quite cozy. I hope you ask his permission first, though.
I'll work on that. He'll be okay with that.
Oh, well, all right. I assume you'll work it all out. You've got a good head on your shoulders, I believe.
Yeah, I've been here for a bit. He hasn't noticed yet.
Oh, well, if you don't want me to say anything, I will keep mum's the word on me. All right, not a problem at all. It's reportee confidentiality there. Well, thank you so much for joining me here, Drexla. I was really happy to talk to you tonight.
Thank you, Luna.
Thank you so much. And now I'm going to take it over to your player, Dan, and have yourself a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye. So, Dan, that was a wonderful sort of interview with your character, Drexla. Can you give us a sort of insight into what prompted you to make someone like her, that sort of mad scientist inventor type?
It was just something new. I've been playing D&D since the 80s. In high school, I started, and working my way up through 2nd edition, 3.5, on up to 5th edition. You guys are really the first 5th edition campaign that I've been part of.
Oh, wow.
So while John was Eguile was a new DM, I was a new player to that too, but I still bring the experience in there and how things used to work. So that has caused some issues trying to figure stuff out, and and that's part of having a really great DM is we can approach
Work
things.
it
It's like
out
I
a
have
little
this
better.
idea of what I want to do, and then he decides whether we can do it or not, or figures a workaround to where we're both happy. And
Oh, that's
that
quite
seems to be-
lovely.
that
That's
seems to have
good
been
to
pretty
hear.
successful throughout the whole
That's
thing.
good. That's good. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the sorts of crazy inventions that Drexla can make for everyone and for herself. It's going to be wonderful, I think, and a little dangerous, perhaps, to see if she blows anything up in the process.
It's just a matter of time.
And you've mentioned you've been playing Dungeons and Dragons, or rather tabletop games in general, since the 80s. So you've been through quite a few games. Do you have any perhaps favorite games that you played? Favorite modules?
Probably the Forgotten Realms and the Runes of Underdark. There's like a 2-box set that they came out with back in the day that has like 9 levels worth of caverns and cities and all kinds of stuff. That's probably my favorite thing. So I'm really partial to that. And then we did a lot of Forgotten Realms stuff in the campaigns with you guys.
That is wonderful.
And now we're building this new world, Extraeus, which is a whole new experience with new races and new abilities and a new history and background. So that brings a lot of new excitement to, I've been playing for a long time, so it's hard to find new stuff under the sun, and so you guys provide that.
And talking about that, how does that feel having, you have so much knowledge and so much sort of a repertoire of things that you know about all sorts of tabletop games, including Dungeons and Dragons. How does that work with being faced with a new world that sort of is a little topsy-turvy in terms of what the different races and species do?
Like I said, it's I come in with my expectations, and I'm pleasantly surprised a lot of the time at the twists that have been put onto everything. Seeing like fighting flying orcas in the water, and it's like, what the hell are these? And they come flying over the ship and are trying to take our horse off the edge and everything, and then trying to figure out why they're flying and what's going on. And my character Drexla, she has to know how things work, so it's driving her crazy that it's another magic thing that she has no access to, that she's trying to understand.
Yes, and how does that work? How does that work not having magic? Do the spells, or rather the technology that you make, is that comparable to spells?
It's comparable, but it's on a different plane, just like different spheres of magic are.
It's like Batman, right?
Basically,
he saw things he couldn't do and other people could do with skills or special abilities, and he was like, I can do that with technology.
Correct.
I quite like that. I think that's a great way to approach it. And you've also not only been playing for a long time, but you've also been married for a long time, and you have a family. You have quite a big family. How does that all work with playing such a sort of immersive, hours-long game?
My kids are all grown. I have grandkids now, but even when I was younger, though, and playing, my kids didn't really understand it. But now that they're grown, they play D&D, and they play video games, and they do all that other kind of stuff. And it's good family activity, because I get together with my 2 of my son-in-laws and their friends, and I run another campaign on the side from this one, and I play in this one. And my wife's really understanding about my hobbies and stuff. She pretty much lets me do what I want. If it's something that she's interested in, like Fortnite, she'll play Fortnite with me.
That's great.
Which makes us cool with the grandkids, because, are in second
the cool
grade.
grandparents.
Like, my grandparents play Fortnite, and his kids are like, what? Your grandparents do what?
That's wonderful. It's great to hear. And I love that it brings your whole family together in different ways.
It does. My daughter lives in the Bay Area. My other daughter, she's working all the time. And my stepson or my son, we get online and play Fortnite together. And it's just a good family activity when you don't get to see each other as much.
Oh, yes, that is wonderful, especially now with the connectivity online and everything, making it a little easier.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's helpful. And do you have perhaps any tips for any players out there that you think, with the wisdom that you can give them, anything that you would definitely say to someone that could help?
Just be open to new things, and if you're getting into a campaign and you have a good DM that's willing to work with you, just come to him with your ideas, explain what you want to do, and if it's possible for him to make it work, then he will. I mean, he has to keep it balanced with the rest of the players and everything, so you're not going to be too powerful or anything. But I mean, you find a good happy medium. That way, everybody's happy, and everybody brings their strengths and weaknesses, like Eric and Bogbean, and they just all bring a different perspective to everything. And Captain B's character, because Bogbean and Captain B are both this is their first real D&D campaign. They're very fortunate to have Eguile as their DM, because it's like, you guys are spoiled, because you don't understand what you have here to have a DM that's willing to take you from level 1 all the way to level 20 and world build and help your character's vision come to light. because
It is a
with
tough
our last
job.
character, or our last campaign where I was playing Caris, the cleric, she like progressed and grew throughout time, and at the end of it, she's like, I really want to be a god too. I want to ascend. So he worked with her on how to become a god in her own
And
right.
it happened.
But unfortunately, he was responsible for all the other gods getting destroyed. But that's another story.
Well, there were reasons for some of those, things in certain actions, and the gods hadn't exactly been very nice. So,
They kind of had it coming.
Yeah. So, but thank you so much for joining me today on this wonderful interview. It was really fun to have a nice perspective, and also someone who plays the gender bend characters quite often. It was really fun as well. Thank you.
Yeah, that's just kind of like when I roll here, it's like I'm going to roll a d20, and 10 and below I'm a male, and 11 above I'm a female, and I just let it roll the chance.
That is cool.
And I do a lot of that stuff with like what kind of character I want to play too, because that opens up the things that you wouldn't normally do.
That is,
and
yes,
gets you out of your comfort
absolutely.
zone.
I would agree. It makes it so much fun to just kind of randomize a little bit. Well, thank you so much. Have yourself a good night, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Lena.
And with that, I'm going to bring it back over to DnDWife and Dungeon Master Eguile for the rest of the show. Thank you so much, Luna, for that wonderful interview. I really appreciate the on-the-ground, on-the-scene reporting.
Oh, yeah. I like always getting that unique perspective that we can hear from our unique characters and NPCs.
The citizens of Extraeus.
But really what we came here to kind of look at are, normally we look at just one scene. We take one scene, we kind of dissect it a little bit, look at the inner workings. But Drexla's start was a little unique. When he came and we worked together, I kind of told him, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be hidden. I'm just going to call for rolls. You don't say anything. You just tell me the number, adding your stealth modifier. Do not say anything. Don't tell the players. I don't even want you to like break face. Just roll number.
Oh my.
So the entire time that like most of these scenes, especially all the scenes that were on the Hellish Insanity Captain V ship, Drexla was there.
The entire time for the beginning?
Pretty much since the ship's departure from the Hume continent, she had been around.
Wow.
And so throughout all those scenes, he's rolling, give me that number, and I'm pushing that against your guys' passive perceptions.
Yeah.
So it's more of, as he keeps staying high, but he's rolling great, like for most of sessions. So essentially he gets to a point where he has to reveal himself because he's done so well. He's never actually been introduced into the story yet.
Oh my.
And so in the very beginning, what we want to, what is hilarious is most of the scenes in the beginning of the session are on the ship.
Yeah.
And so this whole time, all these roles are occurring that no one is aware of.
Yeah.
And then when we get to this scene with Bogbean and Bricky erupting from underneath, what the players don't know is Dan's texting me like rapidly underneath, telling me, hey, I want to go underneath there. I want to see what's up. So I call for a number, and he makes his way down below and, tries to figure out what he can find and secures what is now becoming a very long running humorous gag, but we'll look into that later.
Yeah.
But all of this is occurring, and it almost got into a tense situation with Drexla and Miguel, which again is not a player character. It's an NPC, which means he still hasn't interacted with the other players. And then you guys get all the way to the Mirren continent, all the way into the town. You go to meet Tobias. The whole group's met.
Yeah.
And then finally Drexla is kind of just, oh, hi, I'm here.
Oh.
And so when we get to this kind of like interesting scene, because as the interview went on, Drexla at this point had already ingratiated herself into the Lost Soul Pirates.
Yeah.
So now she's their new official member, and she's their tiniest little recruit. And it's just this kind of like, even the NPC pirate crew don't even know what's going on because they kind of reflect myself just seeing the visualization I get as like DM vision when I see this is just like what is going to go on in my campaign. And so it made for this kind of interesting kind of introduction for a player into the story, in that in reality, that player was aware the whole time. Wow. But to the players, though obviously they knew, okay, Dan's character somewhere. I don't want to metagame. I'm not going to try to hunt for them down. Yeah. But it was just more of, I think everyone, especially like Eric, was just like, oh man, when is he going to show himself? When is this going to happen? And what exactly is going to happen? Thinking, okay, new game, new rules. We know he's going to be this crazy fairy, and here it was just like showing up, eating a hot bun, just saying what's up, acting like they had been with the group the whole time.
Yeah, it was the whole time.
And so I think that kind of put like the final little screw loose in the group that is the Travelers. In that it just kind of shows that no matter how you try to build a story and how you try to build your character's backstory, it's like, no matter what, everyone's crazy and everyone's crazy together.
Yeah, and it's fun that way.
And so it's going to lead to some interesting stories as we get further on, and we're going to have some pretty great scenes that's going to involve Drexla with many of the other members of the Travelers. Well, definitely, as we've alluded to a few times, with her brain-enhancing powder.
Oh, yeah, because, we didn't really mention this, but when we first met her, she's all hopped up on this fun powder.
Oh yeah, so from the perspective of the players, this is her natural personality.
She's just like a peppy little,
basically beautiful minding everything, seeing the numbers and the angles, and just coming up with these crazy ideas that some of the characters in their backstories are just like, dude, I have no idea what you're doing.
I can only describe her as like a living firework at that point.
and I think there's going to be a lot more to learn and discover for Drexla, not only for herself, which, as all you guys know, I have a lot of kind of hidden stuff built into each of your characters that you're all discovering. So I think it's going to be fun, because she's another one of those characters like Luna that doesn't really know much about her personal story. So the more information Drexla and her player learn, they're actually going to see their character be able to change, because they're going to get this new information, they're going to get these new stories, and be like, okay, what decisions do I make?
And I think it's fun to mention that Dan is actually working on recreating Drexla's backstory.
Yeah, I'm totally down to see that, because
he's going to create this sort of picture book for it, and he's already got panels drawn up by an artist. It's almost put together. It looks so good.
Yeah, and he's also one of the, when he was so excited when we first got started, he was one that first started commissioning art for his character, which I'm sure you and Antlink will probably hopefully look into and kind of show the different styles that
we wanted to wait until he got introduced, but now it's happened, so all the artwork's going to start coming.
Keep an eye out on Comic Cave, because it's definitely going to be out there.
And Dan has artwork for Drexla that isn't from our in-house artists. He's got outside artists as well, and they all look super unique and different.
But that is it. That is our players, the Travelers, and these 6 individuals. Now, we're just now talking about the starting of our story, but we currently, at the moment of this recording, are 19, 20, we're like, how many sessions?
28?
Yeah, I think 28. Yeah, we're like 28, 6 to 8 hour sessions. So we definitely have a lot of stories we've been wanting to tell. So keep listening. You'll hear more of these stories. We're going to have all of these players back again, telling more of their sides of the story and having more conversations.
Yep. So the next Traveler Chronicle will probably be the road to Aranoka.
Yeah. And if you want to be a part of that discussion, if you want to send any questions, you want to learn more about our characters, you want to see their actual character stats, you have those kind of questions, please shout us out on our Extraeus Project Discord, as well as the the Couple of Nerds podcast YouTube page.
Yep. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Every little bit helps. We thank you so much for listening.
So now that you know about the Travelers, hopefully you can tell us about your Travelers out there and tell us a little bit about their backstories as well, because hopefully with us sharing a little bit and just showing kind of the life experiences that we kind of make our characters, it really is just that situation where you just, get it on paper and just start playing.
Yeah, so we'd love to hear all your unique perspectives. It'd be super fun to go over and possibly even talk about on the podcast.
So thank you for listening, and as we get into the actual campaign, be sure to check us out. These next Travelers Chronicles are going to get juicy.
Yep. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night.
Have a great one.
And that concludes today's journey through the realm of Couple of Nerds. We hope you had a blast exploring the intricate world of Extraeus. Don't miss out on the visual extravaganza over at our YouTube page at Couple of Nerds Podcast. It's where the magic comes to life with exclusive video segments, art previews, and a peek behind the curtain.
Dive deeper into our adventures by visiting DnDWifeStories.com, your haven for all our podcast transcripts and a treasure trove of content dedicated to the captivating universe of Extraeus.
Your unwavering support is our greatest treasure. Take a moment to weave your thoughts into a review and hit that subscribe button for an enchanting journey with Couple of Nerds.
Join us beyond the podcast in the Extraeus Project Discord. Connect with us, the creators, and even the travelers themselves. Witness the magic unfold in live drawing streams, game alongside us, and step into our digital tavern, the Bard's Haven. Share your stories and characters with fellow adventurers. Visit DnDWifeStories.com for the link to join our vibrant community.
Stay tuned for more tales, more laughs, and more insight into the world of tabletop gaming. Until then, may your dice be kind, your campaigns epic, and your adventures legendary.